Hello, I'm Joel Davel, and I just wanted to say hello to any of the new LEM218 users, or anybody who is simply interested in the instrument I played in the video you might have just seen. That instrument is the latest iteration of the 218. That's the iconic instrument by Don Buchla, and it's paired here with a 208C, which is my update of the iconic 208, which together sort of makes a music easel. And in this case, it's also putting out MIDI, which is playing what is obviously a piano sound with a little bit of marimba to show off some of the dynamics, and pairing them to maybe show off a little bit of the transposition and the tuning. But the 208C is an analog instrument that, though it is controlled by MIDI, is still controlled internally by control voltages. So that is what I played, and I think it kind of pairs nicely actually together. Wanted to show a little bit of the new features of the 218, which include velocity and polyphony. Polyphony actually works quite well with the way the 218 can transpose, which is with those pads I can have instant access to transposition more than one octave at a time. So I can hold a note on the bottom octave and play notes on the higher octave. So that's very nice. Transposition also has a new feature with having a knob. That was something I added as well to free up the pads to do other things possibly, but that didn't feature that in the video. The strip I also didn't really feature in the video. You can learn more about that as well. But some of the things I did included a lot of arpeggiation. So besides the velocity and dynamics you get from that, the velocity of the also affects the arpeggiation. So I could bring up the dynamics of the arpeggiation or quickly bring them down based on the last note I played, which I think creates some musical interest. Also, I played with the arpeggiation with something I call directed random, which is in the random arpeggiation mode. Rather than being truly random, it's sort of a directed random. That is, I can go fully ascending or fully descending, but there's also a distribution of randomness in between depending on the knob position of the preset voltage source. So it's another sort of musical thing I can play with. And it's, to me, it calls upon something that Don liked to do, which is he liked to control the randomness in ways that are musical if you look at something like the source of uncertainty. So there's that, and there was also, of course, there's always pressure. So the more of my finger that is touching the pad, the more pressure, the more the timbre changes. That's something that's always been a feature of the 218, because this is a capacitive sensing keyboard. So it senses the amount of your finger, and your skin is like the dielectric. So you're seeing that. We call it pressure, but you're not really pushing so much as you're just exposing more of your finger or your hand to create some changes in the timbre or whatever you have that might be controlled with pressure. Also, I was driving the arpeggiation with some pulse inputs. Now, I had the pulse input coming out of the preset voltage source, and so not only could I change the octave with it, I could sort of hock it with the arpeggiation, or I could drive it in a kind of polyrhythmic way. And that I found satisfying as well. So those are some of the new things it can do. I thought it might be enjoyable to demonstrate them. And I just wanted to thank those people who made the updates possible. Particularly, I want to thank Darren Gibbs, who advised on the update. He and I worked together with Don Buchla on the original update of the 218, the 218E, back in 2013. And of course, Dan, who did most of the software updates for this version. And I have to thank Eric Fox for giving me the time to develop the hardware, try some things, and allowing me to direct the software development so that we could create an instrument that I think will be even more satisfying than the previous version to play. For anything else that you might want to learn about the particulars about how this new one works, there are videos that are on the website that I think Peter has mostly created, and Adam's created some nice videos as well showing off the instrument. So I hope you enjoy those, and next time I develop an instrument, I hope my hair doesn't grow from being as short as it was when we first started the project to as long as it is now, halfway down my back. So enjoy the new 218, the 218E V3. Thank you. Since I ended that video on the subject of acknowledging people, I'd really like to thank a few more. I'd like to thank James for his fantastic beta testing during the process. I'd like to thank the Buchla team of Tyler, Franco, and Jesse for the final assembly and getting these things here into boxes here in Oakland. and for Nick for what he does to get things out the door, and to Jack, Jesse, and Ruben for PCB assembly done here in the Bay Area, for the housing, Bill, that done here on the West Coast, and for Michael, the collaboration there, getting these boards made in Wisconsin. It's unusual to be able to get an instrument both made and assembled here in the US, and I was glad that we were able to do it. And of course, the final acknowledgement really has to go to Don Buchla for all of his inspiring ideas. So that's the late Don Buchla, of course, and we do miss him. So thank you.